What if I told you that just over 50 years ago, humans did something that had only ever been a dream for thousands of years? We looked up at the moon, wondered if we could ever touch it, and then we actually did. In 1969, the United States achieved the impossible and changed history forever. This is the story of the first moon landing. In the late 1950s and early 60s, the world was living through something extraordinary: the space race. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, were locked in a competition to prove who could conquer the skies first. In 1957, the Soviets stunned the world by launching Sputnik, the very first satellite to orbit Earth. Just a few years later, in 1961, they did it again by sending Yuri Gagarin into space, the first human ever to leave our planet. For the United States, this was more than just news, it was pressure. The world was watching, and America couldn't afford to fall behind. That's when President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress in 1961 and made one of the most daring promises in history: that before the decade was over, the United States would land a man on the moon and bring him safely back to Earth. At that time, no one knew how to actually do it. The technology didn't exist, rockets were failing, missions were crashing, astronauts were taking risks never attempted before. But Kennedy's words lit a fire. And so began the Apollo program. A massive effort involving more than 400,000 scientists, engineers, and workers, all chasing one impossible dream. Fast forward to July 16, 1969. At Cape Kennedy in Florida, a crowd of thousands gathered to watch a rocket unlike anything the world had ever seen: the mighty Saturn V. Standing over 360 feet tall, this rocket was powerful enough to send humans to another world. As the countdown reached zero, its engines roared to life, shaking the ground and lighting up the sky. Aboard that rocket were three men: Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. Their mission: Apollo 11. For 4 days, they traveled through the cold emptiness of space, heading toward the moon nearly 240,000 miles away. Michael Collins remained in the command module, while Armstrong and Aldrin prepared to descend in the lunar module they called Eagle. On July 20, 1969, the world held its breath. The Eagle began its descent, alarms went off, fuel was running dangerously low, and for a moment, it seemed the landing might fail. But Armstrong, calm and precise, took manual control and guided the craft to the surface. His words to mission control were simple but historic: "Houston, TranquilityBase here. The Eagle has landed." And then came the moment that would change history forever. Neil Armstrong climbed down the ladder, paused, and stepped onto the moon. His words, broadcast live to millions around the globe, still echo through time. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Soon after, Buzz Aldrin joined him, describing the lunar surface as magnificent desolation. Together, the two astronauts explored, collected samples of moon rocks and soil, set up experiments, and planted the American flag. For more than 2 hours, they walked on another world, something humanity had only dreamed about for centuries. Meanwhile, high above in lunar orbit, Michael Collins watched over them, knowing he was the only human not connected to Earth or the moon at that moment. Completely alone, but vital to bringing his crewmates home. After 21 hours on the lunar surface, Armstrong and Aldrin lifted off in the Eagle and rejoined Collins. On July 24, 1969, after 8 incredible days, the Apollo 11 crew splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. They had achieved the impossible. The moon landing wasn't just about science or politics. It was about proving that human beings, when faced with the greatest challenges, can rise above them. It was about daring to dream beyond what seems possible. For the United States, it was a victory in the space race. But for humanity, it was a victory of imagination, courage, and determination. Even today, more than half a century later, the words spoken on that night and the images of humans walking on the moon continue to inspire us. They remind us that the sky is not the limit. It's just the beginning. If you enjoyed this story of the moon landing and learned something new, make sure to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more fascinating history explained in simple words. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories to life, and together we'll keep reaching for the stars.